Hashtag 2020 Webinar Series, Day 14. Speaker, Architect Firdaus Basha Ghoshi. Topic, European Best Practices in Architecture and Construction. Welcome to the most awaited Day 14, Hashtag 2020 International Architects Talk Series. A very good afternoon to our respected speaker, Architect Firdaus Basha Ghoshi, and one and all from our fraternity who are here with us today. I hope all of you are keeping yourselves safe and healthy in this difficult time. We are really grateful to our esteemed management, our beloved VP Admin, Architect Lokesh Marivanan sir, and HOD Professor Ashok Kumar sir, our fellow faculty members, and my dear students. It's enough to shower with us encouragement to have our very own hashtag 2020 in a virtual platform. I am Architect Divya, Assistant Professor SRMC, and I have Architect Preetima Devarajan, Assistant Professor SRMC, and we take immense pleasure in moderating the session of the day.
To avoid inconveniences for all of us, I request all the participants to keep your mics and video switched off throughout the presentation. Participants can use the chat box to ask the questions and these will be addressed towards the end of the session. Thank you. I request our convener, Architect Lokesh Madhivanan sir, Vice Principal SRMC, to give the opening remarks.
Yes, thank you for such a great introduction and welcome Architect Firdaus Basha Ghoshi. Welcome, sir, and thank you for accepting our invite and ready to give presentation to our students. And I have seen your work, architecture beam. You are a beam coordinator, and it was a very toughest job. All the services combined together, and it has to be exposed in a well-versed manner, and then only the client will get clarity, all the contractors will get clarity. It is a great job you are doing, sir. All the best to you, sir, and thank you for once again thanking you wholeheartedly for this hashtag 2020 SRMC Ramapuram. This is the third edition of it, virtual edition, and it is great going, and thank you, sir. And I am thanking my management, our chairman sir, co-chairman sir, director sir, and Dean ENT and Dean KTR for fullest support for this event. And without any further delay, I'm handing over the mic to the coordinator. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you. You're welcome, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Architect Professor Vijayashree ma'am, Faculty Coordinator of the session, to deliver the welcome address. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Architect Divya. It's a great pleasure in welcoming Architect Firdaus Basha Ghoshi. We are very proud at this young age achieving such a great height in his career. It's a wonderful and very proud moment for all as a teacher.
Thank you.
Yeah, a warm welcome, Firdaus. It will be a really inspiration to all our young minds and our student fraternity and other participants also to share your global experiences. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Vijay ma'am. Thank you, sir, for welcoming me and having in this platform. And I'm really happy to share my experience and knowledge to SRM Seed, Ramapuram.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Architect Preetima to introduce our speaker of the day.
I'm really happy and grateful to introduce our guest speaker, Architect Firdaus Basha Ghoshi. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Thank you so much for accepting our invite for International Talk Series in hashtag 2020. I'm really happy and personally proud in introducing my dear senior. Architect Firdaus Basha Ghoshi is the co-founder and principal architect at WAR Studio. He has a double master degree in advanced architecture and BIM from IAAC and the University of Barcelona, Spain. He is a proficient designer and an advanced technical architect. He has worked along with IDOM, EMBT Spain, and Murali Architects Chennai while hosting many award-winning projects internationally. His quest for knowledge and exploration of architecture and technology has taken him all across the world, meeting and collaborating with great minds. His aim is to bring finer habitat using cutting-edge fabrication techniques and technology to leading the sustainability revolution. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Preetima. It was a nice introduction of me, and I'm really happy to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Vanakkam and good morning to all. I hope all are safe and healthy at home. So, like, at first, let me explain Let me share my screen. Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you see,
Yes,
see my
sir.
screen?
Yeah,
Yeah.
screen is visible,
Yes,
sir.
sir, we can.
Okay. Fine. So yeah, at first let me explain about my existence in Spain. It's been almost 5 years in Spain. As a young dynamic architect and thinker, I really realize many unique way of practice and approach towards art and architecture while collaborating and traveling in Europe and interacting with greater minds and international firms. So I have been many part of the Europe and exploring new type of architecture and trying to learn from great minds. So that pulls me to this stage. So today we're going to talk about how European has different practices in architecture and art, how they are integrating concept and bringing to reality. So this is like overview of presentation. We're going to see multidisciplinary phase of an architect, the process of concept, design, evolution, and implementation, and how construction materials and techniques can act as a major role in project, and career scope of an architect in the AC sector. Since like now we are now in the presentation, I hope there are many young growing architects. So for them, I would like to give a key points. So let's go to the presentation. So here, there's a famous quote saying, "Architecture, of course, architecture is amazing for sure because it's an art, but it's not easy at all." Architect Renzo Piano has said long back ago, and I really feel, of course, it's an amazing field what we do now, but due to some situations, we are getting diverted from architecture. So because it's not so easy. So like how we go about it. So what about life of an architect? Is it easy or is it so difficult? Like as we deal with many complex structures, many multidisciplinary teams. So how the life of an architect? Like yes, architects also have an amazing and crazy life, but it's very difficult to understand a normal person who are seeing an architect. So how? As an architect, you must be a multidisciplinary person. This is a famous paint. And you see, like we as an architects should have different phases. You see, you need to be an artist in the beginning of the project, and then you need to be a logical thinker how to bring that art into reality, and then like you have to be a team leader to coordinate the projects, or else of course the art will be remains the art, and then you need to make into practicality. For that, you should be a craft person, you should be a model maker to bring that into reality, to see the concept. Is it possible, is it logically possible? like see, like we have a multidisciplinary person inside. We have to think in different aspects. So early in the morning, as I said, you should be an architect, and then you should be a designer as a logical thinker, and then you should be a team leader to manage the design and control the project. And you also need to think in a builder perspective how it can be built, and the technical issues, how this art can be built into reality. And also you need to think as a user. If you're building a project, of course you should be a user first, and then the client will be the user in the later stage. So we have to cross all this process, and that's how we have to be multidisciplinary person. So why we have to? Because architecture, it's not so easy. So involving like many different aspects. Like I'm an architect designer and also a BIM technical person. So while going through a BIM, and I came to know like what about MEP, what about the structure, what about the spatial design, and there are many units, many services are clipped together in architecture, are clipped together in architecture. So you have to be like a Superman, So you should have superpower to deal with all this. So we have to deal in a multidisciplinary way, and yeah. So I am a big follower of Pablo Picasso, and I have visited his studio in Barcelona. And his famous saying is, "I paint object as I think them, but not as I see them." When I see this quote, I really put into different way. But in architecture, you design as you think them, and also as you see them. Or else the art remains an art. So how we can do it? So this like in European experience, it taught me how to bring art into reality. And here you see this is a famous sketch by an architect, a legendary architect like Jane Novel, and it's a facade of an Arab World Institute in Paris. And this is like a sketch, concept sketch, and to bring this to reality, like it takes so much of effort, so much of thinking. Like we have to think logically, and how this mechanism could work. And this is the facade which can be optimized based on sunlight and heat in the daytime. So it's a library, basically library. And here you see like that facade has implemented in a prototype. To see in a real life, you need to have a prototype. Like how we create the concept and design. And majorly in our way of designing, in mostly like majority in India, like we don't do prototype like of models what we want to implement, and that is where lacking I feel. And yeah, so we really need to work with prototypes to bring it to reality. So this is the interior space of that Arab World Institute. So here you see like different shades, how the shades can speak in a poetic way. Like at a different direction of the sun, the shades can change according to the like openings. You know, this is the exterior facade of the building, where it is like organized. When I was collaborating with architecture studio in Paris, and I really came to know, oh, this is possible, and this is how we can work. In Europe, we spend most of the time in design, like 70%, 65 to 70% of the time we spend in design, and other 40 to 35% we spend in construction. So the construction time it's shorter, and the designing time is more in European architecture. Like so that we can give a clear idea and bring something unique to the society, to the human community. You know, for example, this building will be stand for maybe 200 years. So, building a project can be done in a shorter time based on fabrications. And today we are in an era of digital technology where everything can be possible. And here, like now, like we'll go in a detailed project to discuss how an art changed to concept and design and how it implemented in real life. A firm called EMBT where I worked for a year, and this is completely a unique firm. The architect is architect Benedetta. She is the leader of this firm, and she is a Pritzker Prize juror as well. So yeah, this is San Pau Center at Barcelona, Cancer Recovery Center.
Sir,
Uh,
your screen is in the same Arab World Institute PPT. Yeah, now it's changed.
yeah, yeah. Could you see me? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, this is a heritage site. Yeah, it's not like in between the heritage and the hospital campus, around 400 meter square. It's basically a cancer recovery center. Uh, like the major goal, the project should be like creating a homely and domestic environment for the patients. Yeah. So we have to consider in many aspects psychology, like we have to think psychological aspects, and how we can how this space can reduce stress, anxiety, and make them feel happy and colorful in their life. So for that we need an art. Art can make you think in a different perspective. So how we do it? So yeah, so this is site where you see the neighboring site is like as a has a history, the heritage architecture, and other side we have a contemporary architecture, the hospital, and this is in between the both. How do we mingle with heritage architecture, like heritage design and contemporary architecture, and evolve something new? How do you do it? And yeah, so she's an architect. Yeah, she's a Spanish architect, Benedetta Tagliabu, and she also a Pritzker Prize juror, as I said. She evolved designs in a form of art. Everything is an art for her. And as Picasso said, you see, he don't see an object, he think them. But we, as an architect, we also think them, also see them in real life. So this is the art of that project of the Sun Pao Center. So at first, beginning of the project, after we get a sketch from architect Benedetta, and we put into the collage by taking a local materials and local context, site context for the project. And here you see like locally available like uh, species, textures, history of the site, and the neighboring buildings, and other heritage. On the other side, we have heritage site. So all these we put in together like a collage, and this makes us think in a different way, not in a traditional way of architecture. It's like something artistic. Then we put this collage in a form of plan, in a form of kind of arrangements, and putting all the requirements in a form of collage, and bringing like a liveliness to the plan, like flowers, which is the site context. And the Spanish culture is mostly like we have colorful uh, dresses, flowers. So bringing all that, we put into the plan, and we see how this goes along with the site, the neighbor of the buildings. So then we bring this plan in a visual perspective, like a prototype. So at first, at the beginning of the project, we don't do any like a detail model. We go with block models, so to see the form, how does it fit along the side. And here you see like the building blocks, the typical building blocks, and we have like a kind of triangular for it. We bought the leaves, the stem, and that brings this both the corridors together, and it puts into a form of art. Then after having a block model, we go into a detailed perspective of the model. So how do you do it in a contemporary style and also not too disturbing the heritage concept? So we bring like where we can have a balcony and where we can have sunlight inside and where we can give a viewpoint, because this surrounding is completely filled with green and garden and patios, and it has a direct link to the hospital where a patient can be taken to here. We see in a different perspective. This is the detailed design of the site plan. Yeah, as you see, like we have to go along with the site regulations, and also we have to follow the art what we want to implement. And architect Benedetta has created a really good amazing art, and which where we can play different geometries and to link with the nature. And also the form can teach you what actually is going to tell, a person who is in anxiety and depression, by seeing the form, a different form, and they really feel some difference in the real life. And also the texture gives a major role. So then how about the interiors? Now we have seen the outside of the building, then how about the interiors of the building? And we have a space, we have basic requirements inside the house, like kitchen and relaxing space, library, multi-purpose hall, patios, and a grand living, uh, and like informal spaces. So here, if you see this collage, tells you a colorful, like a happiness, love, and care, and yeah, it's like a home. So here in Spain, like we have after a patient is treated and with cancer, she or he like is not taken directly to the home. She has been taken to a recovery center where she really come out of the past, from the past, and to bring her true happiness, and then she's been shifted to home. So to live here, like you need a space which can bring a true happiness. So that's how the collage is. Yeah, if you see the plan of the building, it's very simple, but it has each and every angle has a meaning, you know in based on uh, collage and the art. So this is the entrance we have here. We have a small lounge, and then we have a big kitchen here, and dining area here, and here we have a space, relaxing space, where they can interact with the different people, and library centers on the first floor, and we have multi-purpose area. So, and how about the facade of the building should be? Facade should mingle with neighboring sites, neighboring buildings, and we have taken the concept as flowers and geometries from the nature, and to bring it as a some different facade. At the same time, it should not be over architecture, like overdoing of contemporariness. We have to be. It has to mingle both contemporary and heritage architecture. Yeah. So how did we, like, there was a big design team, and this project was they are designing for more than almost like 3 years, but I was in the middle of the project, and they have been designing with different aspects from the nature and putting into collage. Like here you see on the left the different texture of the project, the flowers, the tiles, designed like gaudy architecture. Uh, you know, like the neighboring dome of the building of the site, and then we put all this into like a complex art that turns out to a facade. And you see each geometry has a different meaning, and it has a clear explanations from the collage. And this form of practice, it's quite difficult to put into practice until like we experienced many projects. Yeah. And exactly. So at the site construction, and you can compare both, like this facade and how we can build it in the site. So it's not so easy to build on the site with the different patterns, and each and every angles of the geometry has to be well explained to the contractors. So at this time, you should be a builder, you should be a contractor, and to think uh, what you want and how it can be built, and you have to give the drawing, of course. So you have to put into you have to put your cap, you have to change your cap as a contractor at this moment, from artist to logical thinker, team leader, and now you are a builder. So we have to think how this art can be possible. So each angles and different shapes, how we can bring it into real face of the construction. So there are like technical drawings, which is like I cannot share, but anyway, like I can tell you. And you know, the each curves, it's as simple as we see in the plan. Yeah, yeah. So this is a neighboring site. This is a hospital, and uh, and there's a heritage site here. We have a heritage site with a completely like we have big open space. Here you see some photographs of the construction. So at the time of construction, we really need to educate the employers, educate the person who's working on the site, and you know, like this guy is like making a brick on the wall. You know, like see, each on the base of the pattern. We have to educate the workers how to work on it, how to implement the real art into a project, into a real life model. So I feel like this we are lagging in Indian way of construction, and we don't educate most of the time to the workers on the site. We just give it drawing to the builders, and at the end, you know what we see. We don't see what we thought of what of the project.
Firdose, sir, sorry to interrupt. I think your video is switched off, sir.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Could you see me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So like we have to educate the contractors and the co-workers in the project to bring a concept into reality. This is the finishing stage of the project. You see, like how the workers has done in a very neat finish, and the art has changed to real scale model. So like as you see, this is the heritage building and the hospital on the side. Yeah. So it has to be correlating to heritage and the contemporary way of architecture. So you cannot say it's a similar type of geometry and architecture, but visually, yes, it's correlating to the site, and as per regulations, as per we also need to respect the history. Yeah, you see the clear geometry of the plan, what we had in the concept stage. Yeah. So this is like a kind of pergola where in the winter it can be like filled with like green trees, and on the plan, it looks like a flower actually. It's a kind of a stem of the stem of the flower, and it's a leaf. Yeah. And here we go with the interiors. Like you see, like each and every corners have a neat finish, and it gives a peace, a pleasant feeling. Uh, if a cancer patient is sitting here having reading a books, and he really have a pleasant feeling, with the lighting and with the textures inside the house. So this we call is like as a homely, like a house. It's not a center, it's like a house rather than calling as a center. Here we have a get together and having like dinner or lunch with the other patients, and yeah. And at the top you have a patio which leads to the different rooms, like multi-purpose area, library area, all that. Yeah, this is the interior space of the multi-purpose hall. And from the ground floor, you can see like there's a hospital directly connected to this building, and you see it's quite contemporary, not has a heritage design. Yeah. So how construction materials and techniques plays a major role, as you see, the material plays a major role in architecture, and not only materials and how it's built with techniques, that is more important as well. A material has a true nature to express the feelings of the space. If a person is sitting here and having a cup of tea, or so he or she really feels pleasant, away from stress, anxiety, and this brings a pure happiness. As an architect, we need to think how a user could feel the space rather than how the user could use the space. We really need to think in this type of projects how he could feel it. The textures, the colors could give a really pleasant feeling. So let's come out with. Yeah. So you see the finishes of the construction in a normal type of architecture, like as we see in many part of the projects, you don't see a typical finish. So in this way, we need to teach a contractor or an employee who's working for this uh, how we want it, and the design and the drawings has to be made based on that. So that's how the concept could be possible into real life. So now, like, let's talk about. I want to give a key to the young dynamic architects who are growing in India, uh, to see them in a different perspective. Right now, we all are in a crisis scenario, and of course, many passionate architects have different perspective. Okay, architecture is not a good way and all that, but no, architecture, we have a greater scope in India at the current scenario. In Europe, has I been experienced with different firms and great leaders and great design experts. They are working in different fields, but with the background of architecture. But an architect in India, like most of the majority of our students, studying after studying BArch and turn to be an architect without a feeling of true essence of an architecture. So you may have a dream of being an architect, but after some scenarios, you may need to change and go through different disciplines uh, to know the sectors. So as you know, like I was an architect and I worked in Murli Architects, and I learned so many different concepts and ideas on how to implement in the real site. And then I left India. It's been 5 years, and then I came to abroad. I learned their culture. Now I speak Spanish. Uh, I learned their habits, how they approach art and architecture. Then I turned down to be a computational designer in BIM, and really wanted to know how technology helps architecture make our work easier. So yeah, I also gave a lecture before based on BIM. Um, Yeah, so we have a major possibilities. Uh, like in Europe, an architect can be a designer, sustainable designer. Like after BArch, they choose specialization. Like a doctor, after MBBS, they choose a specialization, like a dentist, like many different fields. So like that, we has students, and we are architect students. We have to choose different specializations according to your interest. Some may be interested in more on designing. Some might be more on sustainable thinking. Some might be good in technical architects. Some might be like good in structural. Okay, I want to bring this structure, and of course you can really do next level of specialization in structural designer and product designer. Architecture is a field where makes people lives easier. Making people lives easier can be in any field, not only not only in construction, not only designing homes, designing shelter, also designing product. Also, like for designing product, you need to approach a technical person, or for designing a complex geometry of an architecture, you need to approach a computational expert, where it can make your works easier in fabrications. and also you need a project manager, and also you can be a project manager. Why not? So we have different scope in architecture, and I think this can be seen in in Indian scenario as well. In India right now we have so many architecture schools. So you need to explore things, learn different culture, travel many place, many countries, and we have in India has a good heritage buildings, and India has a huge history, which is the oldest in the world. Uh, we really need to consider all that. How in older days we build in such a very less technology and equipments, and now how we can build it in an easy way. We can do a lot more. So that's how that's I want to give a key point to younger generations. I have struggled a lot in my early age of architecture, but I still wanted to do more, explore more internationally, and bring it to India, and teaching many young students to bring a new culture to the current scenario. And yeah, so and this is my firm. WAR. It started recently 2 years ago, and we are doing based on research and how technology can helps in architecture, and based on material analysis, and like how materials can make a turnover, a changing point in architecture. So yeah. So if you want to visit media, like follow Instagram, and you can email me in projects@what.com. Yeah. So here I end my presentation. Thank you and time. Yeah. Here I end my presentation here. If there is any questions, and yes, please.
That was one presentation.
Dear all, you can post if you have any questions. You can post in the chat box.
We're open for the question and answer session. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the chat box and we'll read it for you. So there is a question for you.
Yes.
They get to know what are the materials used for construction for facade and building.
One second. Come again, please.
They get to know what are the materials used for construction for facade and building.
What are the materials? Yeah, like for choosing material for facade, it's gives you, like it's a major role in architecture and construction. So there are many n number of materials, especially like bricks, and there are now we are exploring new type of materials for insulation, like thermocrete, GFC, glass reinforced concrete, uh, like which can really helps in climate change. And also now newly we are exploring with here as you see this project, I haven't gone into detail. In this project, the outer structure is almost like 30 centimeter. So first we build with brick wall, and then in between there's a double wall. In between the double wall, we have insulation, like a foam or a thermocrete. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, sir. Actually answers to both the questions. And another one question is from Venkatesh Babu, sir. Why did you choose to go to Spain when everyone wants to go to UK, US, and Canada?
Yeah, because like I did my masters in IAAC, which is one of the second top in Europe, and moreover, Spain has a history, and the Spanish construction techniques is unique. Is one of the unique way of doing construction. So I wanted to learn that. All Romans architecture has been explored majorly in Spain. So I wanted to explore that. That's why I came to Spain.
And one more question, sir. As students, how can we work with prototypes?
Yeah, prototype. Because we as an architect, in a professional life, we don't do majorly prototype. We are losing that culture. In a student, if we are a student, like at school or thesis, we do prototypes like models. And rather than doing models, I suggest you should take some part of the design and see into real prototype, not in a real scale. Might be like 50, like 1:50 scale, and you can, well, yeah, 1:10 scale, like that. You can see it. You need to bring that design into practicality.
Another one question from Adira. Can we get a job opportunity in Spain? What are the skills that we have to improve for that as a student?
Can we get a job opportunity in Spain? What are the skills that we have to improve for students? Right now, at the current moment, Spain is in crisis. Of course, the world is in crisis. We don't have much job opportunity here, but to explore and learn new skills, of course, Spain, Italy is one of the best, and also UK is more of contemporary and BIM. Job opportunities currently is less. Maybe in the future might be growing more.
And one more question: how can we go in future in BIM after Bachelor's of Architecture?
Yeah, BIM, you really have a great future in it. BIM is the future for sure. That's why I upgraded. I did my double master degree, and I upgraded myself to BIM. Before in Europe, before 2015, they just introduced BIM. In 5 years, it's become mandatory in Europe. In India, I think it introduced in 2018 or 19, and it's going to be mandatory soon. And it has a great future. Yeah, great scope for architects in BIM.
And one more question from Roshan. Could you share some info about any one Spanish construction?
Could you share some info about anyone's parents? Yeah, as I said you, this construction which I showed, Kalida San Pao Center, it's really amazing architecture to explain uh, how you can convert an art to construction. That is a real true example for this. Yeah, for more details, you can Google about it, and you may have many details. Yeah.
Okay, I think they are done. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your time and efforts you took to share your thoughts and knowledge with us. Thank you once again. Indeed, it was an eye-opening session towards this topic. And my dear participants, if you have further doubts, even after this session, you can reach out us in our social platforms, Instagram and Facebook, where we are available to clear your doubts. By this, we are helping you to step into the digital platform where our world is actually heading. Thank you.
Yeah.
I now request our co-convener, Professor Architect M. Ashok Srivastava, Head of the Department of SRMC, to deliver the council note.
Yes, Good afternoon, one and all. It is a great pleasure to have you, architect, Pradosh Basha Ghosh, is our today's webinar speaker for our online symposium hashtag 2020 hosted by SRMC Dramapuram. It's a great to have you, Firdaus, architect Firdaus today. So
Thank you, sir.
we feel very happy as our no overall not traveled abroad. Maybe the how the European country architects and other country people how they are designing, how they are practicing, and how they are doing their construction and all. You really simply you are taking into our students and participants today how those people are making and envisioning their design into reality by making the construction and how they are doing the practice and things like that. You are with your example design and stage by stage design how one architect has been designed and how they envision the design pedagogy, design methodology, and how they implement it into site. Those practices and all you are bringing into our screen today. So it is we are very grateful to you bringing those
Thank you.
images and design and explaining to our participants and students.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me an opportunity in this platform to share my knowledge and skills. And
Yes,
of course,
yes,
I would like to share more in the late future.
yes, yes. We will have you again for another webinar also. So,
Thank you, sir.
on behalf of SRMC Ramapuram faculties and students, we thank you once again, Architect Firdaus, for bringing us the practices, designing
Thank you.
practices of European architects, for your valuable time and your experience and expertise shared today in our virtual mode of symposium hashtag 2020. Uh, our heartfelt thanks to our SRM Ramapuram management, director and dean for their continuous support and encouragement to conduct this online webinars. We thank our coordinators, moderators, students who are all involved for happening of this webinar hashtag 2020, who are all supporting directly, indirectly to our to this event for a resounding success. Thank you very much. Of course, we thank you one and all who are all participating today, all the architects, faculty, students, and parents, of course, from different parts of India. We thank you one and all for being with us and supporting us continuously. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your kind words. Fido, sir, we have one last question from architect Anushri. How will you be able to use your experience in India?
It's not so easy.